We've been talking a lot about filling your desires with the best answers, searching the way of self-mastery to find the treasure, defeating the dragon of tampering. That's all well and good, and often this process can only take a few seconds if you're good at it. All these ideas can happen immediately in your situation. But what if there's no answer? What if there's a desire, I call it an inexplicable desire that you can't seem to ever fill? What is that? No matter what you do, you can't fulfill this desire. What do you do? Well, I wanted to read to you a useful passage from the Bible. For this perishable body must put on imperishability. I've quoted it in the book, and this is not the Bible. Don't worry. For this perishable body must put on imperishability, and this mortal body must put on immortality. When this perishable body puts on imperishability, and this mortal body puts on immortality, then the saying that is written will be fulfilled. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? The sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 53 to 57 in the NRSV edition. So, there's different things you can do. You know, I love that passage because it just kind of paints the vision of where we're going. The suffering sometimes required in the waiting, in the patience, in the unknown is often the path. And that often, and we talk about the path as being self-mastery. It's often the path you must walk in order to enjoy the treasure. There are things you can do while you're on that path, though, and in the book I talk about 4 of them. You can heal your desire if it's tampered. You may not know your desire is tampered. There might be some tampering that's giving you that frustration and that suffering. Do all you can to heal your desires as much as you can. That's on you. You have that within you to seek help, to get everything you need. And we'll talk about that later on what that looks like. You can also change your desire. Sometimes the desires that you insist that it must be fulfilled, it's like, what if you just changed your desire so you no longer need to desire that? Now, this doesn't work for the 3 main types of desires, which is love, life, and freedom. Those are your 3 root desires at the core of all your desires. And there's other desires that come off of that, and love, like community and relationships and all those kinds of things, sex, all that kind of stuff. But then there's also, life, hunger, thirst, movement, there's freedom, money, status, things like that. These are all different, smaller desires. I like to call them niche desires. The idea here is that you're filling your root desires and they fill all the little ones. The big ones, the main ones, love, life, and freedom, you're focusing on those. But sometimes there's aspects of those root desires you can't fulfill. And often this is often a matter of love, the desire of love. There's some things in life that you're just, man, I wish I could fulfill this. Or freedom, too. I can only imagine. Viktor Frankl, he wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. He talks about his journey in the concentration camp and everything that he went through and the stories that he experienced and the suffering. I can only imagine that kind of suffering, but to be able to come through that and use it for good and to find the treasure at the end, the freedom, the freedom from the concentration camp, but how he had to wait years and years of finding that freedom again. So you can change it, but not always can you change it. Third one, which is let your desire die. Actually let it die. So this is actually not your root desires. Love, life, and freedom, you'll always have. Those are lifelong desires. But some desires, like let's say status. You let status rule your life. That's probably not the healthiest, but if you decide to be like, you know what, I really am trying to fill my desire to love and be loved, and I just don't think this status is for me anymore. You can do that. You can let status die. Big life change, though. If you're trying to pursue career and money and all that stuff, it's like, that's tough. That's really tough. But again, if you want to live a life with all your desires fully satisfied and actually find the treasure, it might be what it takes. So that's what I mean when you let your desire die. You just focus on another aspect of your root desire that actually helps you. The fourth one is submit to integration or distraction in joy and patience. So this is sometimes you have to just submit to the suffering. It's going to be here. It's going to be in your life. It's going to be present. What can I do despite its presence? That's actually how you find happiness. What can I do despite its presence? Happiness expert Mo Gadot, he wrote a book on, I think it's called Solve for Happy. And he talked about this idea. What is true about it? What can I change or eliminate? And what can I do despite its presence? He asked those three questions. And no matter what situation you're in, no matter what you're frustrated or suffering with, you can still find happiness when you ask, what can I do? Even though this thing is a reality for me, this is what I have to go through. My desire won't be fulfilled right now. Can I choose to walk that path of self-mastery anyway and find joy in the waiting? Because I do believe there is an answer to every desire. There is an answer to every good desire, and you can have it. It is available to you now. The path is available to you now. And even though some of these answers are far off, or it can seem like it, you can still find intense meaning, intense joy, and intense happiness now. But you have to choose it. It's up to you. The question is, where in your life do you need more happiness and joy?